Welcome to Therapy Explained, where we explain, demystify, and destigmatize mental health and mental health treatment. My name is Deniss. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist and your very own mental health cheerleader. Today we're talking about how to avoid heated arguments with your partner. What do you do when you're really upset and you're trying to discuss this with your partner? How can we turn down the heat? Before we jump into the list, make sure to subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. Follow me on Instagram for your cheat sheet and give this video some love by giving it a thumbs up if you're excited or if you learned something at any point throughout the video. Without further ado though, let's go ahead and get started. So it's not realistic for us to expect that we will never get into an argument with our partner. We are two separate people with separate opinions and separate feelings and separate needs. So at some point, those needs are going to clash or they're going to be different. Those opinions are going to be different and they're going to be opposing. So what do we do in those moments when we want to communicate with our partner about our needs, about what's important to us, but not turn it into an argument? Or what do we do if we're kind of already very heated and tense? This feels important to us. What do we do to avoid this turning into an argument? Don't personalize. It's important for us to remember that whatever feeling, thought, opinion, whatever is coming up for us that we are disagreeing with our partner on, that's what the disagreement is about. It's about that particular topic, that particular subject or need or opinion. It's not about our partner themselves. And it might also be you trying to give your partner feedback about a certain behavior. So again, stick to that behavior. Don't call them names. Try not to use past wounds or information that you have about them against them. And also try to avoid deciding what their intentions were based on that behavior or thing that they said or opinion or thought that they have. Take a beat. Take a moment. Take a breath. Pause for a second. When you notice that you're feeling very overwhelmed, that can usually mean our face feels really red, we feel really hot, we feel like our muscles are very tense in that moment, we might be clenching our jaw, we might be speaking very fast, or notice that our tone of voice is being raised. So in those moments when we can learn how to identify what's going on in our body, those need to be cues that we should take a beat. It's usually helpful for us to also take a breath, but remember to do it in a way that really is grounded on trying to take care of yourself and not so much annoying your partner. One of those breaths does not help. One of those breaths might also not work. So try to say, I need a second, and then come back. So in a way that doesn't add to that tension, but still allows you to take a second to take that deep breath and try to regulate your system. Verbalize what you need. So if that is what you need, a beat, a breath, a second, maybe even longer than a second, ask for that. If you're already in the middle of a discussion and you feel really overwhelmed and you need to walk away, it's okay to do that. So say that. Say, I need a second, I need a few minutes, I need to take a breath, or maybe I need reassurance. Can you tell me that you love me? Or I need a hug, I need to hold your hand, and discussing what that needs to look like with your partner. Because in the middle of an argument, they might not be too ready to hold you or to tell you that they love you. And so that does require a discussion after your argument, after that tense moment, in a time when you two are more grounded and calm. That can happen in that moment. So that might be a better space for the two of you to have that conversation of, when I'm upset, can I ask you for a hug? And if they say, I don't think I can hug you, figuring out what that would look like then. You know, I can't hug you, but I think I can hold your hand, or I can rub your shoulder, right, your back, to let you know that I still love you. So that also requires a separate conversation. But you won't get to that conversation unless you voice what you need. So in that argument, if you're feeling really upset, it's okay to say that. And to even say, like, listen, I don't feel like you're listening to me, actually. I don't feel like you're hearing what I'm trying to say to you. And communicating that to your partner will keep you away from personalizing it or making assumptions, like we said in the first point, about their intentions. Take a break. Like I mentioned, If your need in that moment is to take a break, whether that's 5 minutes or a few hours, take that break. Say, hey, I think that this conversation is really heated. I feel really overwhelmed or really upset. Can we take a minute, right? Can we take a few minutes and then come back, ground ourselves and come back? Because when we are activated, when we're flooded, we cannot listen to our partner anymore. It's just too much that's going on. Our nervous system is on survival mode. And learning how to take that pause, learning how to take a break and take care of ourselves so that then we can come together and continue that conversation is key to avoiding arguments with your partner. So learn to take a break. And again, that conversation of what that break can look like is really good to have when you're both feeling calm. So maybe after watching this video, when you're not upset, when you two aren't in a tense discussion, it might be a good time to say, hey, listen, can we just talk a little bit about, how we argue or what should happen or what you need, what each of us needs when we're tense or when we're disagreeing, and that can help you plan for those moments. Do not generalize. Going back real quick to what we actually do in those arguments when we are upset, when we're feeling really angry, we really want to try and stay away from generalizing that behavior. Remember, we want to stick to this is the thing that we are disagreeing on, whether that's, we have a different opinion on this thing, instead of saying, you always like to argue with me, you always do this, you're just a mean person like this, right? This is just something that you always do. We try to stay away from always or never. You never listen to me. You never do what I tell you. You never care about how I feel, right? Those are not helpful words. When we overgeneralize, it's usually wrong, because I'm sure that there's one exception. And two, when we overgeneralize, now this becomes a much bigger argument, which is what we're trying to avoid. If this is actually much bigger about one particular behavior or an opinion, and it's more about the need, then we can pivot to talking about that need instead and say, it's just that this behavior hurts me because it makes me feel forgotten about. And then you can talk about that. It's important to me to feel important to you. And this is one of the ways in which I feel important to you, right? So kind of pivoting to those bigger needs, there's nothing wrong with that. But generalizing your partner's behavior and trying to decide for them what their intentions are is not helpful. And lastly, we want to provide feedback and take responsibility. Every relationship takes two. This is teamwork. So I'm sure at some point we are playing a role in what's going on. So it might be helpful for us to say, listen, I usually text you to take out the trash or to pick up the milk or to do this thing when you are busy, and I understand that that doesn't work for you. So on my end, I will try to text you or to make a list for you or to tell you when I see that you're not busy. That's when I'll try to talk to you. So that's us taking responsibility for that dynamic. Or maybe being able to say, I'm sorry that I called you names. I'm sorry that I generalized you or that I hurt you. I shouldn't have done that. But remember that we live in a world of and. So taking responsibility doesn't mean we're taking on the whole responsibility or that we're saying that everything is on us. We can be sorry about the way that we dealt with something, but still know that our needs are valid, right? To say, I shouldn't have said that, or I should probably ask for these things when you're not busy, and I am dedicated and committed to doing that. However, I still need you to follow through with these behaviors, right? It's still important to me to feel heard and listened to, and that happens when I don't have to ask you for the thing more than once. And then we also want to provide that feedback, right? We want to stay with I statements, right? When you don't do this, this is how I feel, right? I feel forgotten about, I feel dismissed when this happens. And so again, we're trying to stick to how we feel and what our experience is without overgeneralizing, without personalizing or hurting our partner, and allowing them to tell us what their experience is, because this is teamwork. Remember that these conversations are meant to bring us closer. Saying this is hurtful or this is something that I'm missing in the relationship is because we want to make the relationship work. We're providing feedback to say, hey, I care about you a lot and I want this to work. I want to stay with you, and this is what I need in order to feel safe and loved in this relationship. So these conversations are meant to bring you two together. And the feedback is, again, remember, about the behavior and more centered on how the relationship is working and not so much about you, and what's wrong with your partner. So remember, trying to come together knowing that you are a team and that these conversations are meant so that you two can problem solve as a team to make the relationship work as a team and not to criticize your partner. So whatever end of this you are on, whether you're receiving this feedback or giving it, remember that. Try not to hurt the other person. Ultimately, if you are upset and hurt, you can say that. You can always say what you're feeling and what your experience is. Ideally, that is something that you can absolutely do in your relationships. I have many more videos on healthy communication styles, attachment, and all things relationships on my channel, so make sure to check those out for more help and support if you're interested. I also have a monthly newsletter where I provide you with a journaling worksheet, so if you're interested in doing more of that active inner work where you feel like you're really taking this agency and active participation in your mental health healing, then go ahead and sign up to a newsletter in the description down below. Your cheat sheet is already available to you on Instagram, so make sure to hop on over there to get access to it. But before you do, remember to give this video some love in any way that feels authentic to you. Every like, comment, subscription, and share helps spread the word about free mental health information and education, and it is greatly appreciated. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, remember, I'm cheering for you.